Good morning, y'all. I have a dog following me because he's ready to go for a WALK. We have been doing way more WALKs these days because that's just the kind of exercise that feels good for me right now. But before we do that, I'm going to set a timer and do a garden project because I still have all of these bags of things that I need to do something with. So, I just walked through a spider web. So good. So what we're gonna do this morning is we have this Kellogg raised bed potting mix, and we are going to top off the grow bags. So the grow bags, I tried to do a bit of an experiment with tomatoes and grow bags. Didn't really go that well. It went okay for the cherry tomatoes, but the slicers definitely did better in ground. So I think I'm going to keep my tomato production to in ground beds because they just have a lot of room for, he thinks now that he peed. He's like, I did it. Can we do the stuff now? So I won't do tomatoes in grow bags again. Not saying you can't do it. I just think that my big heirloom slicers where I wanted like big fat tomatoes, that was just not an ideal place. And what I did to fill the grow bags, these are massive grow bags. I think these are 20 gallons. What I did was I actually filled them about a third of the way with dead leaves from our house that we live in. And then I did composted cow manure, compost, and some of this raised bed potting mix. And all the tomatoes did great. The cherry tomatoes did awesome in there. I just really think that it came down to an issue of like not deep enough for roots, and like I probably didn't keep them watered enough for the big slicers. So we are going to amend these. I think I'm going to put broccoli in these this year. Guys, this dog, he just has so many expectations. Cooper, are you the prince? You're the prince who would like to go on a WALK. This should be a pretty fast garden project. We're just going to get some of these filled. I need to pluck out the stakes, take them into the garage, and just keep working on getting things cleaned up. I don't know about you guys, but the state of the world has kind of gotten to me this week, and it just feels like everything's gross. And truthfully, I kind of messed up my seedlings this year for the fall, and I'm still trying to figure out how to save them. I just didn't give them the attention they needed. I let them get way too big before I separated them. Now they're all tangled, and some of them are leggy, and this is just real life. So we're forgiving ourselves. We're forgiving ourselves and allowing ourselves to be better next time. Okay, y'all, that is done. This is what a little bit of humidity does to my hair. So we'll fix that, but post dog walk. I did just want to like talk to you guys real quick about, working full time, gardening, having hobbies, and just kind of the state of the world. I think it's really easy to feel really like paralyzed by the world right now. At least I have kind of felt that way. And I just think like, we can only do the next best thing in life. And that's going to be different for everyone. And for me, the next best thing is to figure out what I need to do to get back to a place where I feel good and secure, I deleted Instagram off my phone this morning because it was just like an echo chamber of garbage. And I'm gonna work on my gardens and my seedlings. What a mess. You know, I'm pretty frustrated with myself for that. But I started a new job this summer and my seedlings just didn't take as much precedent as they would have normally. And I got sloppy and I went too fast and I put too many seedlings and then I waited too long and I went on vacation and like, this is life. Like, welcome. This is life. And so I know that I'm feeling this way, just frustrated, anxious, not very happy with myself. I think it's funny because all of my corporate jobs I've ever had have given me two biggest pieces of advice. And that's one, I have higher expectations of myself than anyone has of me. And I can't let that numb me, which it has been for probably like a week. My mistakes have just been numbing me, and especially with the seedlings, that's like my source of hope in a world that feels pretty chaotic. And so the fact that I screwed up my seedlings. And I have a YouTube channel, like Mad Imposter Syndrome. I'm like telling you all how to do things and I can't even really do them myself, and it's just because I work too fast. And so the combination of working too fast, not slowing down, being diligent, and just having really high expectations of myself that are probably unrealistic has led to me just feeling really bad just about myself, about the world, about the garden, about my YouTube channel, about everything. And that's a lot to swallow. So my goal is to be very transparent and honest here, and my encouragement is slow down and have realistic expectations of yourself, and also like cut the crap. I mean, anything that is in your life that isn't serving you or making you feel good, like cut it out right now, because the world is just a crazy place, and we all have to, you know, nobody's getting out alive. We all have to deal with it. So yeah, I'll catch up with you guys later in the week. That was a lot. Okay, y'all. So it's later in the day, and one thing I have not talked about is how we have not had water at the community garden for about 7 days. We had a busted pipe that was leaking, and the person who normally fixes this stuff was out of town. Hey! And so it just got fixed. And so I'm gonna go check out the plot and see if anything's still alive. Okay guys, I saw a community garden friend and I had to say hi. But I just got done kind of giving everything some water, and let me show you the damage after a whole week of no water in Central Texas. Zinnias are still alive. This oregano patch I'm never gonna get to die. The squash is dead. It already had vine borer damage, so then also being subjected to the extreme heat, it's not coming back. These pink illumination zinnias are still doing well. Thankfully the peppers are actually still doing well, and my habanetas have just freaking exploded. I mean, look at this, is all one habaneta plant, and I think there's one in here. So all the peppers are alive, thankfully. And I'm gonna do one last harvest of these peppers before it's time for them to be done for the season. And then it looks like I had some zinnias put very nicely back into my plot. I kind of wish I brought my shears because I just love these El Dorado zinnias. These are they remind me of a creamsicle, and I just love that. Okay guys, I had to get back in the shade. It is hot. This is not the most ideal time to water because the water just evaporates. But there is no ideal time to water when you haven't had water for a week. So this is just, again, the power of mulch in the South when it's hot. The power of mulch. Mulch. I put like 2 inches of mulch down at the beginning of the season, and it has saved me so much time in weeding and watering, I can't even tell you. So happy to report the peppers are alive, the squash is not. That's not really a surprise. But yeah, so things are looking good. I watered my friend's plot that was right across from mine, and we're trucking. Hey guys, what's up? It is later in the week, and I had to make a really hard decision this week, and it sounds really dramatic, and it's really not, but I had to make the decision that I could not fulfill my obligation of doing all of the seedlings for the plant sale. And that was not an easy realization to come to, especially when people are counting on you, the garden's counting on you, but I do want to take a minute to just explain what happened and why, and so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. If you've been watching my vlogs over the last few weeks, I got my seedlings too leggy and I overseeded them. Now, those two problems by themselves are not super damaging. If you've got leggy seedlings, if you catch them in time, you can totally fix them. If you've overseeded and you separate them in time when they're still pretty small, you can totally save them. I realized I overseeded and had leggy seedlings right before I went on vacation. So that was about 3 weeks ago. I did not have time to separate the seedlings, or I could have saved them. So I tried to do it when I got home, and it did not work. It was super tedious because what happened was they were just all like tangled in each other. And so when I was separating them, I was just breaking them. So I was able to recover some of them, but not enough of them to like hold the fall plant sale the way that I wanted to. And it's been incredibly frustrating. It's something I thought I could fix that I don't think I can fix. So yeah, kind of just as a message to any of you who have kind of like had a big failure like this, like it happens. It's gonna be okay. It's really unfortunate. I don't feel great about it. In fact, I feel pretty awful about it if I'm being honest, but these things happen. I did not anticipate the life change that my new job would bring upon me. I'm very happy. It's been great. I'm much more balanced with like work versus personal time. But it's been an adjustment. Any new job is going to be an adjustment. Any new life thing is going to be an adjustment. And that adjustment period just happened to be when I was needing to really focus on this and be really diligent. But my job comes first because that's what pays my bills. So just putting this message out there to anybody that feels maybe a little bit badly about anything they did in the garden. I know I have the highest expectations of myself. So I tend to beat myself up a lot when this stuff happens because I know that I can do and be better, but I didn't. So that's my situation. And went ahead and ripped the Band-Aid today, and I emailed the leadership at the garden and apologized and said, I'm so sorry, I committed to something that I couldn't end up fulfilling. Like, that's not fair to you. That's not fair to the garden members. And I finally just pulled the trigger and told them, and it was really hard. I still feel really crappy about myself. But tomorrow's a new day. Next week is a new week. I'm gonna have enough savable seedlings for my own garden, and I'm also gonna have enough savable seedlings to give away to a lot of the members, just not to sell to the public. So trying to like get the silver linings out of kind of honestly like a really just crappy situation of just life circumstances. Thinking back, what's most frustrating about it is I don't think I actually could have done anything better during the process. I could have set myself up better for success and not actually offered to start all the seeds for this plant sale. So yeah, there you go. We all fail. We all have to admit we failed sometimes. It's not easy. It's really hard. It was something I was looking forward to. It was going to kind of be like a bit of an accomplishment, if you will, but wasn't in the cards. What I'm going to do next, actually, now that I'm not focused on separating the seedlings, is I'm actually going to thin out with a little pair of scissors the weak seedlings in each one, and that's going to help massively with getting them into bigger containers. Like, this is my kale. Right now I've got Dino kale, which is this one, and then I've got Purple Moon kale, which is this guy. It's got this nice pretty purple to it. So right now these seedlings are so tangled and leggy
that like trying to separate these would be a literal nightmare. And that's what happened. I was just breaking them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in here and clip the weak ones that are just really crowding everything out. I'm just gonna kind of come in, I'll let them die off for a couple of days, and then I'll be able to pop these guys out and put them in bigger containers. I'll say, now that I've kind of admitted that this isn't gonna work and that separating the seedlings isn't gonna happen and that I have to kind of give up this idea that I had that we were gonna do this plant sale for the community garden, now that I've like made that decision, I've communicated it, I feel like I can at least like emotionally move on, which sounds kind of dramatic, but it's been weighing pretty heavily on me for the last 2 weeks. And I think when I got back from vacation and I saw the seedlings and how big and tangled they had gotten, I think I kind of knew to a degree that it probably was not going to be fixed. So, dear friends, that's where life is at this week. I feel like this was not the most uplifting vlog. I'm just kind of personally going through a lot. Nothing like major, just, you know, processing the world. And also this time of year is really tough. I liken it to when you live in the north and it's March and it's still gray and gross and cold and you're just like over it. You're like, I just want it to be warm, and I'm like almost sad. That's kind of how April is here. I'm sorry, August. That's how August is here. It's just so freaking hot. And as somebody who loves to be outside in my garden, the extreme heat and not being able to really go outside and getting eaten alive by mosquitoes every time you go outside, it just sucks. Like, it just freaking sucks. So I'm just over the heat. I should not be complaining. Like, there are people who are much worse off than me, but I think it's kind of a bit of that and just the world and just trying to kind of process. So I think now that this weight's been lifted off my shoulders, I think I'm gonna be able to mentally move forward a little bit better and not like have this like guilt kind of following me around everywhere. So I've rambled enough about this. Thanks as always for watching, and we will see you next time.